Okay. I need to do the first check to make sure that there's no echo, since that's been an issue before. I don't think there's an echo right now, so I think we're good. My dog barking in the background, but no echo. Okay, let's see. How do I look at the comments? Oh, error loading. Uh-oh. Now there's an error loading, but can anybody see or hear me? Oh, Facebook. Oh, technology. Let's see here. All right. Well, if you can see me or hear me, if you can comment somewhere in the message so I can know where we're at, because man, this stuff doesn't always seem to work out the way I'd expect it to or want it to. So please, if you are on the stream, when I try to check it on my phone, it is saying there's an error loading. When I check it on my computer, yes, okay. And you can see the video, Lisa? Wonderful. Okay. Well, then we're good. We'll get this party started. I might not be able to see comments throughout, but just trying to figure out best ways to do this. Normally I have my iPad around too, so I can kind of see things, but my daughter's Skyping with her cousin. Okay, wonderful, Mary. Great. Put my glasses on. All right. So, figure out how we're getting all this to y'all. Here we go. Oh, I think I know why there was an error. Okay, no longer an error loading. I got it. Okay, and I can see some stuff. Okay, wonderful. So, today not going to be as long of a practice. It's going to be a much shorter practice, but also very restorative. But we'll want a few things around. So I'm a yoga teacher. I got yoga props. I have blocks, bolsters, things like that. But you don't need any of these sorts of things. So I grabbed some extra couch pillows as an example of what you could use. You could also use those bigger, thicker couch pillows for your bolster, or if you have like those more decorative bed pillows, you can actually have a use for those decorative bed pillows. You can use them for yoga, but you'll want something a little thicker and meatier. And then with blocks, you can use anything, books, all kinds of little stuff that you can find around the house, as long as it's got this shape, because that's what we're going to want to start. So we'll give just a minute as people are filing in, and perhaps if you're here to grab something like that, again, a thick pillow that you can lay on, a couple of thinner pillows to help boost up the outer legs if you like, as well as some blocks, and we'll get into how to use these in just a moment. Okay. Cat is optional. You don't need a cat to do this practice, but clearly I have a cat who, if I don't let her in here to be with me, will probably just be at the door meowing the majority of the time, which is why she's in most of my videos. All right. For those that are here, if you already have some stuff organized, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start laying on our backs today. Again, this is just going to be 4 restorative postures, and we'll be doing some gentle meditative techniques while we're in the postures. We're going to take our thicker pillow, in this case I've got an actual bolster, and lay it towards the back of whether it's your yoga mat or just the space that you're going to be laying down in. You can lay it flat, or you can use things to prop it up a little higher. So I'll use an example here of placing some blocks underneath the pillow. And actually I'll go high on one, low on another, so it kind of creates a bit of a ramp for me. And then go ahead, bring your hips towards where the back of your pillow is, and lay back on your pillow or bolster. Now again, if this is too upright, feel free to take away any support underneath. If you're laying on your back and you feel like it's not upright enough, by all means feel free to prop yourself up, either with some more pillows, or again, if you've got yoga blocks sitting around, anything like that, or you can use books or other things. And we'll see how that goes. If you've got the extra couch pillows, inner thighs are up. If you get any discomfort or strain in your knees, you can use your pillows or more yoga blocks and slide them to the outsides of your hips so that they're actually propping up the outer legs so you get less pressure on the inner thighs, or inner knees, excuse me. Go ahead and get that set up if you haven't already. The cat's name is Sita. Okay. Once you find this position on your back, rest your hands wherever they're comfortable, and your arms wherever they're comfortable, so they can be by your sides, resting on the floor. You can rest them on your legs, on your chest, or in my case, on my cat who's sitting on top of me. She's purring though, which is wonderful. Super calming. I think she knows it too. And once you've found that place, settle your eyes closed. I have to admit that yesterday was a hard day for me. My dad was in surgery for removing a cancerous tumor. They locked down the hospital. My mom got to see him for 10 minutes, and then that was it. That combined with everything else that's going on right now, it was just a tough day, which is why you didn't see any streams from me yesterday. But I was able to do my own practice, which was great. And we'll share some of the tantric approaches to meditation in our practice today that help us not convince our mind that it needs to be calm, not to convince ourselves that everything's going to be okay or anything like that, but to learn how to connect and drop into the experience of self that is beyond all the stories we have, which is filled with worries and concerns and plans and everything else that's going on for the majority of us right now, with everything that's happening in the world. But I want to make sure that we know that it's not about stopping your thoughts, nor is it about getting more clever with your thoughts and just telling yourself that everything's going to be okay or something like that. So we're working towards meditation in its truer sense, which is not a calm mind per se, but the capacity to know who you are. Excuse me for just 1 minute. I got to make sure that I didn't lose you all because my computer just did something funky. Okay. We're going to start here. Eyes closed if they're not already. Simply connecting to the breath. The breath is one of the greatest tools we have in our practice, but also in life, to help bring our attention away from the whirling mind, the busy thoughts. And if you're like me right now, lots of anxious thoughts, lots of worried thoughts. And it pulls the light of our attention from projecting out through the head and thinking and into an experience that's arising right here and now, the experience of your breath. So just notice. You don't need to breathe any particular way right now. Just notice your breath as it comes in and out. Notice how it feels in your body. Notice where you feel it. And typically, just paying attention to your breath is enough to evoke some curiosity in some deeper breaths, but by no means do you need to force deeper breaths. Now, to help attune us to the awareness practices that we'll be doing in these postures, we'll start off with some very simple bhavanas, techniques of contemplative meditation. You're actually doing something. We're going to start with simply by noticing the beginnings of the breath. Where does your inhale start from? Where does your exhale begin? Even as the inhale fills up into your body, can you stay anchored in that point of the beginning? The initial point of emission where the inhale began. As your exhale moves out, can you still stay connected to that initial point where the exhale emits from? Switching our attention from the beginnings of the breath to the ends of each breath. Where does your inhale go once it's full? Does the actual experience of inhalation dissolve into before it becomes an exhale? As the exhale pushes the air and prana out of the body, where does the exhale dissolve into? Where does it go? Follow it. The inhale gets more and more subtle towards the end. Follow it back to its most subtle place. Go with it. As the exhale dissolves away into the void, follow it. In between these points of inhalation and exhalation, there's a space between. Notice the space between. When your inhale is filled up all the way, before the exhale begins, there's a moment, however brief, between the inhale and the exhale. As your exhale dissolves away, there's a point in time, the exhale is finished before the inhale begins. And notice that space between. The space between is one of the most important entry points in our practice of tantric meditation. Liken it to the Wizard of Oz and peeking behind the curtains. You get to peek behind the activity of the inhale and the exhale to notice what lies underneath. Because this experience, the physical breath and the subtle prana, is also mirroring the experience of our thoughts and mind. You have a thought. It's held in your attention for a while, and then it dissolves away, and then a new thought begins. We spend most of our life bouncing between thought to another thought. Like you attune your attention to the space between the breaths, can you notice the space between the thoughts? That gap when one thought has dissolved before another thought arises. You find that you get too distracted by your thoughts, then come back to the breath and notice the space between the breaths. Continue to explore this deeper in all of the postures today. And start to find some gentle movement again in your body. Wiggle your fingers, your toes. Do the butt dance underneath you, wake up your glutes, your arms. If you have a cat on your lap, go ahead and set your cat aside. Otherwise, bring your hands to the outsides of your legs. Draw your legs together and then roll off the side of your pillow or your bolster onto your side. Slide whatever support you are utilizing away off of your mat, or you're just using a rug, then slide it out of your way. And return to your back. Once you're on your back, hug your knees into your chest. Make a few circles, rock a little side to side. If your knee's still bent, release your feet to the outer edges of your mat. And if you're not using a mat, that's fine. You want to think about shoulder width distance apart or a little wider. The space, there's room for the ish factor, meaning to say you can go a little wider, you can go a little more narrow. It's going to be what feels best for your hips. But you can play around with it gently by simply allowing your knees to sway a little side to side. Arms can be beside you, or again, just resting on your torso. You can move fast with the legs or slow. I encourage you to alternate and explore the potential of both. Find your knees vertical again. Your feet wide as it seems appropriate and comfortable. Pick up your left foot and bring just above your left foot to the outside of your right knee. Again, arms can be wide, or perhaps you're still resting on the body. Exhale to lower your legs over towards the left. Now, if you notice any uncomfortable sensations, remember that you can always use pillows to help prop up the outside of your leg, give you a little more support, maybe even underneath the other leg for support if you're noticing any strain in the knee. Otherwise, simply allowing gravity to offer the legs towards the left. And then shift your attention back into your breath. Notice the space between the breaths. You catch yourself getting caught up in thought. We're not trying to stop thinking. Just start to notice the space between each thought as it arises and dissolves. Not trying to get more clever than the mind, not trying to convince it or stop it of anything, but to begin to look behind the curtain of the thoughts, the constant projection of the mind, the one underlies it. Send your arms wide for support if they're not already, and lightly press through the backs of your arms. Inhale to draw your legs back up through center, and then place your left foot wide again, so if you're on a mat, you can set it towards the outer edge of your mat. Otherwise, maybe a little wider than shoulder width distance apart, whatever works for you. Pick up the right leg, place just above your right ankle to the outside of your left knee. Again, arms can remain wide or bring them back onto your chest. Torso. And exhale, lower your legs over towards the right. One more round of practicing how we attune ourselves to the space between. Space between breaths. Space between thoughts. It's less about forcing your mind to think certain things, more about recognizing your inner capacity to change your inner gaze as well as the outer gaze. Just like you can choose in a busy restaurant that has TVs to look away from the TV, the person in front of you you're having a conversation with. But we're not doing that now because we're all on quarantine. You can shift your attention from the busy thoughts to something else. In this case, the space between. Thoughts don't stop necessarily. We're just shifting where we put our attention, energy.
Send your arms wide again.
Send your arms wide again, lightly press through the backs of the arms for support. Inhale to bring your legs back through center.
And hug your knees into
And hug your knees into your chest. Really encourage the twist through the spine. We're going to keep the thighs close to the chest, as close as you can.
Send your arms wide.
Send your arms wide.
And
exhale to lower your knees over towards the left.
And you can
always take one of your pillows, place it between your legs for support. Your legs are dangling and not making it to the left. Feel free to bring a pillow to the outsides of your legs. Wherever feels comfortable and supportive.
And we're going to shift from the
more directed
point in between.
Now,
shifting your attention
with your eyes closed
to the
void that pervades everything.
So whether
you're experiencing words in your head or images, whether you're hearing sounds and tangibly experiencing them on the inside.
Notice the
void that's all around them, the space that is everywhere.
Rather than the
narrowing down
to
find a point,
it's like
relaxing your eyes to drink in an entire scene rather than focusing on a singular thing. Relax your awareness to drink in so much of the experience
that you're noticing
that which holds the entire experience together. It's more a relaxation of any effort than it is generating effort. The previous technique was more about
shining light,
directing, limiting where your attention is.
Here we're
simply allowing
any tension
of limitation
to dissolve away. Lightly press through the backs of your arms. Gently tone your belly. Inhale, bring your legs back through center. Your knees
still bent and close to your chest. Exhale, lower your legs over towards the right. Now if you're finding relaxing into that inner void to be challenging because your thoughts are busy, then we have the other technique of returning to the point.
The
point between your inhale and your exhale. The space between your thoughts. It's something in a moment, it's something more specific.
Otherwise, we're relaxing into the expansive experience
of the void.
Of the void. Image that helps me understand this contrast is the difference between a point and a wave. A point being a singular dot, a wave being a realm of potential. Being to the void is to experience the wave. Nothing is particular, but all is moving and vibrating. All of that potential comes to a standstill, to a specific point in time. As the wave, there is no point of time. There's just all points and all time. Your thoughts are still there as the wave, but they get no more attention than sound of my voice, sensations of your body. It's all held equally within the wave. Lightly press through the backs of your arms, tone your belly. Inhale to bring your knees back through center. Give yourself another little hug and squeeze. We've got a few options for our fourth and final restorative pose. If you have access to a wall where you are, I encourage you to find a wall, but there's plenty of things that will give us a similar benefit without a wall. One of which, if you still have your pillows around, you can stack up your pillows high enough, maybe even in this case, blocks underneath. So that you can scoot your body up towards where your pillows and block are and stick your legs up so they're elevated. That's one option. Another option is if you're in a room that has a bed or a couch, is to come up to the bed and stick your legs up along the side of the bed. And if your knees kind of hunk over where you're sitting on the couch or on your bed, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to keep the legs straight up, but just so you have something that helps to keep the thighs up, whether it's your pillows, whether it's the side of a chair, couch, bed, or, I will demonstrate here in a moment, the wall. Now if you have a wall, I'm also going to suggest that you elevate your hips a little higher. You can even do this if you have enough pillows, if you're just working with your bed or something else. And you can place one of those pillows directly up against the wall or right against your bed or your couch or whatever it is. And then bring your hips so that you're right next to where the couch is, or whatever it is, wall, bed, and start to navigate yourself to roll onto your back so you can send your legs up the wall, or up the couch, or up the bed. And then once you find this comfortable place, then hands can be alongside you again. You can rest your hands on your torso. If your legs are up the wall,
don't feel that they need to be all the way straight. If there's a little bend in the back of the knees or anything else, that's absolutely okay. Nicely done.
You can close your eyes again if they are.
And close your eyes again if they are open.
We're simply going to play in this realm between.
The point and the wave.
Relax into the wave that is
simply the void of all being.
The ground.
Of
all thoughts.
Of being, of all thoughts, all senses, all experience.
Which is a relaxation. Of mind and attention. You're not directing anything.
You're letting go of your particular capacity to direct attention. To experience the void underneath. And if that is not happening as easily for you, go back to the tangible and more familiar experience of the limitation of the drawing in of our attention to the sensations first of the breath, connects us to the physical sensations and subtle sensations,
and then particularly to the points
between the breath.
Which eventually you'll notice are none other than
that very space that we relax into
in the
other technique. Why these techniques can be so helpful, in particular in this day and age, everything that's going on in the world right now is that the mind gets busy about you, mind's filled up with all kinds of worries and concerns and this and that. It helps to shift attention away from the constant newsreel of the mind
to notice what lies underneath. And the more time that we spend
in that space between the time underneath, we realize
how insubstantial
our thoughts are.
We start to experience and notice
something else.
Something deeper and more profound.
The busyness and cycles of our thoughts.